Hello everybody, this is Eric Navas. In this video, I'm going to talk about why UBF can't get any sheep, especially nowadays. So, like I said, my name is Eric Navas, and if you're new to this YouTube channel, it's called UBF Cult. And basically, this video is, I guess you would say, the UB French slash UB Informed video version of what we do, and it's basically you can consider anti UBF material, not just exposing what UBF is behind the scenes, but also deconstructing and translating um their methods, ideology, etc., and declassifying what the common person does not know. In this video, I'm going to talk about why UBF cannot get any sheep when they go fishing. And fishing is UBF's insider language for recruiting people. I'll talk about fishing in another video because that's actually a interesting topic. In fact, one of the commenters actually requested to do a video on fishing. Don't worry, it's gonna happen. Probably later this week, maybe next week. I'm not sure yet. So anyway, in this video, I'm gonna talk about why can't UBF get any sheep. And UBF has answered this question, and they'll say in their own words, or they'll phrase it differently, but UBF will basically say, oh, it's the students, not UBF, on why they can't get anybody. Reality, it's the other way around. The reason why UBF mainly cannot get anybody is because they're not transparent. And by transparent, what I mean is they're not clear and open and honest about what they do. In addition to that, sorry about that. In addition to that, they're not, whatchamacallit, it's also how they approach people as well, how they exercise their faith. Because in UBF, yes, they do believe in Jesus Christ, and that in order to be saved, you need to accept Him and believe in His resurrection. But how they express their faith, that's when the similarities between other churches pretty much end right there. Their understanding of expressing faith in Jesus is that you have to be a Bible teacher, you have to be fishing, you have to submit to your human shepherd, you're a human UBF missionary, absolutely without question. And if you don't do that, you're not expressing faith in God. And that's a very shallow mindset they have. That's how they understand expressing faith in God is. And it's because of that, that's basically their drawback on why they can't get anybody. And when UBF shepherds, members try to get people, they do really bizarre things in order to get people. They would stalk students. They will, by stalking, I mean the very definition of stalking. They would follow them to their dorms. They would follow them to their classrooms. They would stalk them on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the student uses. And I'm not exaggerating. They have done this before. They still do this now. It's a reoccurrence. It's kind of common, which is quite unfortunate, just to get a student. They would even stalk students in restrooms. It's not a joke. Some shepherds would go in a bathroom while somebody's, just doing their business and ask them for Bible study. That's weird. That's bizarre. That's awkward. Let's say now a random person is trying to sell candy, for example. Let's say Hershey's chocolate bars. And they're going to a restroom and offer you to buy candy or recruit them in their business. You're going to turn away from that person. You're going to get away from this person as quickly and as soon as possible. Because that's bizarre. So if that's bizarre, how is somebody with a Bible going into a restroom to recruit somebody not bizarre? You see what I'm saying? And another thing is that they're not very informed. They they withhold a lot of information. They're not informative. There you go. That's the word. What I mean is that when you recruit students, they don't tell them. They don't really tell them anything. So students basically know little to nothing about the organization. In fact, oftentimes the shepherd does not even tell them the church's real name. For example, the UBF chapter I was from, UBF, when they recruit students, they never tell them they're part of UBF. They never tell them their real name, El Community UBF. They never do that. In fact, pretty much just about every UBF chapter does this. They don't use their real name. Instead, they'll use a front group, a fake name. So when recruit students, they'll say, my name is Shepherd's Church. Right? And information they'll provide is pretty much false or limited. Like they'll claim that I'm non-denominational when that's not true at all. They're actually a power church. Power church and non-denominational is not the same thing. Excuse me. They're two different things. They tell almost nothing. All they will, pretty much they'll tell you at most is that it's one-on-one Bible study, it's no obligation, which is false, and it's just you have one-on-one relationship. That's pretty much all they tell you. They do not tell them the history of the church, what's the church's end game, their agenda, what's the goal, who's involved, that kind of thing. And students will tend to ask a lot of questions, what is this, what is that? It's not that they're being rebellious or have anything against the UBF member, it's because that's who they are. They're just curious. When someone's curious, they'll ask a lot of questions or do their own research. But UBF mindset, they'll think, oh, this person is rebellious, he can't be teachable. And when they say they can't be teachable, it translates to I can't control them. That's what they're really saying. See, they don't explain it like that. That's what they really mean when they say, oh, this person's not teachable. It means I can't control this person. I cannot insinuate them. There was this one incident where a friend of an ex-member told the ex-member who told me how they were trying to be recruited from somebody from the UBF chapter I was from. And she honestly thought that they were human traffickers. I'm not kidding. Because the person who was recruiting them didn't tell them almost nothing except would you like to invite you to Bible study or something like that. That's pretty much what they said. And that's why they were disturbed, because they have no idea of this church organization. They don't have no club on campus. Most of them don't, and UBF chapters don't have a club on campus, and if they do, they use a different name, kind of thing. And recently, I think some people call them out for it, and they have to put in their club description, that they're affiliated with University Bible Fellowship, UBF. So yes, that's what students really think. And sometimes students will call the police on them. And UBF always interprets that as persecution, when that's not the case in reality. By definition, persecution is ill treatment or hostility towards a group because of their beliefs. But when students call the police on UBF members, it has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with their belief in Jesus. Nothing to do with that. The reason why they do that is because they feel as though they're being harassed. There is no altruism in UBF. What I mean is there's no altruism towards outside people, no consideration of their feelings, their thoughts, or private space. Like some members would even try to recruit people while they're eating, and the student will shoo them away. It's not that the student is trying to be disrespectful. It's because, they probably have a long day. They probably have 5 classes that day, 6 classes. Maybe not that day, but like the semester. They work in a part-time, full-time job, and that's their only time to eat. And if you come up, or for anybody for any reason, if you're eating, you have a long day, and that's the only time you can eat, and someone comes for you to do something, you're gonna be a little grouchy because you're probably hungry. I want to eat something, right? They have the student has no grudge against UBF, has no grudge against the shepherd. They just want their space, their private space, and UBF as a whole does not understand that. Understand that I should give the student their space. They're probably busy eating right now. If you think about it, when UBF shepherds do that, it's quite disrespectful in a way. Think about it. Now, what happened? What would happen if the other way around happens? What if a UBF member is eating, and that's the only time they can eat after doing all these UBF activities, class, and work, and somebody approaches them and asks them for something? It doesn't have to be Bible study. It could be just anything. You're gonna be a little irritated, right? You see, the problem is UBF cannot see both perspectives. They see things in a certain way. They see things with a shallow mindset. That's what I'm talking about. Another thing is that UBF shepherds try way too hard. And there's this saying that less is more. And that's quite true, really. Because when UBF shepherds recruit people, they recruit people for 1 hour, 2 hours, some people 3, 4 hours. And in their UBF, in their perspective, the shepherd's perspective, they might think that, oh, I'm just being really zealous for God. Now, in reality, or more specifically from the outsider perspective, the student's going to see you as lonely, as somebody with no life, as somebody who's basically desperate. That's how they're going to see you as. And that seeing a person that's so desperate trying to get people just to have a Bible study, it's going to make outsiders kind of cringe. And if anything, the students will probably pity them, but they're not going to be willing to join a Bible study with somebody who's just all they do all day long is just recruiting people. They're going to cringe. Like, oh, it's that guy. It's like, doesn't he have anything better to do? That's what they're going to think. See? And the problem is that UBF, and also another main reason is internet, global networking, that kind of thing. Why UBF cannot get anybody? Because now, as of this month, almost 60% of the world has access to internet. Crazy, right? I'll put a link to all the information in the description below. Not only that, even third world countries and continents have access to internet, just such as India and even Africa. And if they do a quick Google search or whatever search engine they use, and look up University of Bible Fellowship, they're going to see all information about UBF. When I mean all information, I'm talking about not just what UBF and UBF.org, but what ex-members have said, testimonies, declassified documents, newspaper articles, etc. And if they go to the shepherd or the UBF mission, quote unquote missionary, and ask them what this is about, and if the member is not willing to answer the question and avoid the topic, or if they do answer, they become evasive or give a half-baked answer, that's going to give the student a red flag and realize there's some ulterior motive. They'll think, oh, they're not honest, they're not open about what they're doing, or the student will think this shepherd doesn't know what he's doing, and they're going to eventually leave. That's why nowadays when students are recruited by UBF shepherds, they don't actually join them because they want to know right from the get-go, what's this all about. And UBF leaders are not, they don't tell you what the end game is. For example, like El Community UBF again. John Beck talks about 50 churches. What does that even mean? Why 50 churches? After this is accomplished, what's next? He doesn't tell you that. Even if you ask him, he'll just say, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And when UBF people do that, what they're really saying is the reason why I say don't worry about it, put faith in God, or not say this information is because I want to help you exercise your faith in Jesus by showing you that it's okay not to question things, but to just rather believe based on what you hear, based on the fact that I am God's servant. See, there you go. UBF members don't explain that. They don't translate their terminology. They don't explain why they do what they do. So like right now, I just explained why they tell you to be open to God without telling you anything, because they're trying to express their faith. But the outside person's not going to get that. How could they get that? Unless somebody translates it for them or explains it to them. Because there was a member from the chapter I used to be part of, he would deconstruct, not necessarily deconstruct, but he would translate all of John Beck's terminology, the UBF entire language, and explain to them, he's saying this, but that's what it translates to this. UBF doesn't do that. They don't break it down to students, this is what I'm really saying, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. They don't do that. And so the students are basically scratching their heads, pulling their hair, trying to figure out what on earth does this guy mean? What on earth is this shepherdess trying to tell me? It's racking their brain. And students don't like that. They don't like having to guess or try to figure things out. Like, what I mean is, like, not that they don't want to try to figure things out, but they don't like being kept in the dark. They don't like to be kept guessing, kept at bay and trying to kind of guess what they are, but they want somebody open, like, okay, what is this agenda? What are you guys up to? And also when they see the online stuff, what's this about? When they see online stuff about the negative stuff about UBF, which is pretty much accurate, they want to know. When they see that and they approach the UBF shepherd missionary, the student's gonna want these three things. They want to know if they're willing to acknowledge it. 2, if they're willing to apologize for such actions. And 3, what kind of changes are going to be implemented to make sure those things don't happen again. UB has a history of blacklisting ex-members, silencing people, harassing people. There's even the cases of abortion, child molestation, etc. And when a student confronts UBF shepherds or quote-unquote missionaries about information they find online, they want to know those three things. That if they're willing to acknowledge those things, if they're willing to apologize for it, officially apologize for it, and if they're willing to implement changes so that those things don't happen again. But UBF doesn't do that, and that's why students don't join them. They might have to stay for a few Bible studies, and then they're just going to leave. Because they don't want to be part of something that is going to keep out the loop. They're not going to follow somebody who doesn't appear to know what they're doing or what they're getting into. Nowadays, people are more aware more sensitive to what's going on. It's interesting how I remember reading the old UBF friends posts and how, sorry about that, posts about how there was this UBF quote-unquote missionary explained this was referenced in an old UBF friends post, UBF friends 1.0, and how back then it was easier to control before the internet, right? So it really goes to show that UBF quote-unquote missionaries want to control students. That's one of the real agendas. And that's why UBF has a web team. They dedicated to basically taking stuff down in hopes that they can get more people. But no matter how hard they do, the internet, it's a big place. Many people can access that. Eventually, the student's going to find out the truth. And UBF will be confronted with that truth. And UBF cannot face it, the truth. Face students, they're not going to get anybody that way. And I know this video sounds quite counterproductive, but I'm not doing this video to help UBF get more people, but to show them that it's UBF's own fault, own shortcoming, own wrongdoing that causes their own downfall. So basically, in other words, UBF is responsible for their own downfall. Why it's not getting anybody, and why it's shrinking. And that's pretty much it for this video about why UBF cannot get any sheep. And in the future, I'll do a follow-up video explaining why UBF cannot keep anybody. This is Eric Navas, and I'm signing off. Oh, before I sign off, if you have any questions or suggestions, leave in the comments below. If you want to contact me directly, I have my email. I'll leave my personal email in the description. I'll also leave a link to my personal Facebook. You can message me there. And I'm doing this because I'm willing to trust you guys. However, if it becomes abused, I'm not going to provide my Facebook link anymore. Or I'll probably provide my email, but as far as my Facebook, I'm not going to provide that anymore if people abuse that. So yes. So now I am signing off. Until next time.